State of the Sun Devils with Jeremy Schnell, Jesse Morrison, and Mitch Bareldes, an Arizona Sports podcast.
Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Jesse Morrison and Mitch Bareldes. I'm Jeremy Schnell. Damon Allred will join us later in the podcast just to talk about a little synopsis of what's going on with the schedule, guys, and we're going to go game by game and make our predictions. But first, the depth chart is finally out, Mitch and Jesse. Initial thoughts. A couple oars on there. I know we were a couple,
and I'm a big oar guy.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham had told us that a few weeks ago that he expects to have. He said, "I just might put like oars on every single position." I think he said a couple of weeks ago.
I think at the same time it gives you flexibility, and it gives like us that can see the depth chart a better idea of how they're going to handle certain packages. So, like for example, tight end was one of the first places I went to.
Sure.
Jamal Mateer and Marqueston Douglas are bolded, which is to signify that they're starters. Mateer is listed first, so my expectation then would be, Jesse, is if they run 11 personnel, which is one tight end and one back, we're going to see a lot more.
One tight end and one back.
We're going to see a lot more Mateer than we would Douglas. However, I personally anticipate a lot of 12, which is a second tight end, so I would anticipate a lot
one back, two tight ends.
Mateer and Douglas on the field on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. What kind of stood out to me here is there's some oars on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Which
Scary.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like I don't know if that means that their offensive line isn't strong or if it's so strong that they have two starters at three positions.
I mean, I've always been nervous about the offensive line. You guys know that. I worry about that way too much. But the game is won in the trenches, boys. A lot of Wolf references today, if y'all don't know.
Like really early in the show, too. We've done 3. I think we're good. I don't think we need to do any more.
Yeah, I think we're set. I think we're set.
But you're talking about a lot of 11 personnel.
Yeah.
And in terms of the running back room, I don't see why not. I mean, you got guys... you go all the way down to Raleek Brown. All these guys could play snaps in this game on Saturday.
Yes.
You don't know who's going to be. Raleek Brown obviously out on Saturday.
Yeah,
but,
he's injured.
They have so many guys in this running back room that you want to get touches for some of them.
The third string running back is Orr, and then the fourth string running back is also Orr. So,
which is to say, even their second string running back, it could be any of these three between Kyson Brown, DeCarlos Brooks, and Alton McCaskill, who are all good, as we've come to learn.
And also, Jason Brown, he's been great in camp.
Yeah,
he breaks so many tackles. I don't know if you guys. I was at the scrimmage a few weeks ago. He breaks so many tackles. Yeah. I don't know if it's just because he's playing against the third team defense, but he's going to be one to watch. Just a true freshman out there, and big, but he can run for sure. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him a little bit this season.
I'm just excited for the fact that I feel confident, and I've said this before, in each and every one of these running backs. I think that they should, again, pound the rock 40 times a game. And that's what I want to see on Saturday, which we will get more into Saturday's game in a bit. But, the running back thing, it just stands out that there's so many options there. And the depth chart, it's like you can read it as, oh, they've got a lot of options there, instead of just like, They list the depth chart. The two oars in the running back room shows me that like they feel confident in all of these guys.
I'm excited about the rush ends too. Clayton Smith, Roman Petrie, and Jamon Tapp. Those three hopefully get some pressure on the quarterback, not just Saturday, but for the entire season. It's something that we've been wanting to see from ASU over the past, 4 or 5 seasons, is get pressure on the quarterback and force the teams to run more just straight dropbacks and quick passing game. If you can get a quarterback to get the ball out quickly, it gives your guys a little bit more chance to tackle and rush to the ball. I think ASU plays better especially with the talent that they have in the secondary, young talent as it may be. It'll be a much better team if they can get pressure on the quarterback.
I think, too, we shouldn't overlook the middle of the line. Kenny has raved in the recent past about CJ Fite and Zach Swanson, a couple of guys that are newer to this defense, but have gotten every vote of confidence from the head coach, even from the DC, Brian Ward, when he was speaking recently. Like, it's going to feel a lot more sustainable, I think, to your point, because they have better off of the edge, or we're curious about the off of the edge rush. But at the same time, Jesse, I do think the center of the line is going to feel a lot stronger and more physical than what we got from last year's group.
Yeah, and I think I've seen that too in the practices that I've attended. The running backs have had a lot of success, but there's been some times where I've seen the defensive line meet them in a place that I'm like, okay, this is a really good running back, but also the defensive line's holding their own. So I'm excited about that. I'm much more excited about the front seven of the defense than I am about the offensive line, just because I feel like the offensive line is a lot more unknown than the defensive line. And then I did want to bring up as well, because Damon told me that that he's been really good, he showed some flashes last season, but cornerback Keith Abney, he is a true sophomore, smart kid. He's in Barrett, the honors college over at ASU. I think that he's poised for a breakout just based off of what he showed a little bit last year, and then the reports from practice that Damon has provided.
And then obviously you touched on the secondary there, very young cornerback group, but in the safeties, Shamari Simmons, he was good last season and he's back this season. He's going to play safety and nickel, and then Cole Martin is a sophomore, so they're going to switch out between safety, nickel, corner, and in that position as well. Xavion Alford, he's someone that we also brought up.
We love him.
He went up to Damon, shook his hand the other day, I heard, right, Damon? Yeah.
Damon's just smirking back there.
I did want to say one more thing about the depth chart.
Yes.
Again, I would have loved to see Trenton Bourguet be the backup quarterback just because he's been here for as long as he has, 6th year. In my opinion, he looked better than Jeff Sims in camp, but I'm not the coach. And I don't make the rules, so
many redshirt seniors on this team.
Good.
It's good to have a lot of experience. So for Saturday, what are the keys to an ASU victory against Wyoming? Jesse, I'll start with you.
Well, I think on Saturday that they need to not put Sam Levitt in any positions where he is, under fire. This is
uncomfortable.
He needs to be comfortable. I don't think that they should try to reinvent the playbook for him, reinvent the wheel. I think that I'd like to see somewhere between 15 and 20 passes for him. And then I want them to run the ball. That is what I think will be the key to success for this team.
But in NCAA 25, I throw about 50 times a game.
Okay, no one cares about your video games, Jeremy. But yeah, I would like to see 15 to 20 pass attempts. A couple shots would be nice. I'd like to see him take a couple of shots just because I want to see if they're able to do that, because it looked like they were going to be able to do that last year.
And they have weapons on the outside.
Exactly. And it looked like they were going to be able to do that with Rashada last year.
And then everything happened that happened.
Yeah, and then it was dink and dunk with Bourguet. I'd like to see them open up the big passing game. And with the running game, speaking of video games, the classic line from my Madden game back in the day was a good running game sets up the play action or whatever it was. So that can be something.
Again, they have like 5 running backs that could get playing.
Exactly. So I want... I'd like to see a lot of play action. I don't know if we'll see this, but I would like to see some under center. I don't know if that's what they'll do, but
it doesn't happen much in college anymore.
Doesn't happen much in college, but they can still do some fake handoffs, read option, that kind of stuff. And then that's where I think you can attack the passing game. And then defensively, I want to see a couple turnovers. That's what I think.
Turnovers were so lacking last year.
I think the key to this defense is to get turnovers, and we saw it at times in camp. But a lot of it was when Jeff Sims was playing quarterback, and he is turnover prone. So I don't know if that was just Jeff Sims or if it was the defense.
And again, it's a very, for Wyoming, it's a quarterback that hasn't played a lot at the D1 level. 6'5" quarterback. That's Evan Svoboda. He's the quarterback for Wyoming. 6'5", 245. from Mesa, Arizona, by the way, guys.
Local guy.
Welcome back to the area. Hopefully, ASU gives him a nice welcome back, if you know what I mean.
And they beat him by 50 points.
No, but he's a big guy. So to go along with your defensive key there, Jesse, they need to figure out how to bring him down because he can run the ball as well, Mitch.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. No, it's okay. I was going to say simple comp, as we were discussing before the start of the show. Damon threw out that Denver Post have been comparing him to Josh Allen, the former Wyoming quarterback.
He's 6'5", 245.
The build is very
small guy.
similar. And when I think about Josh Allen, I think about someone who's got a cannon of an arm, someone who can create offense on his own, and someone who can be a living nightmare for defenses, Jesse. And to your point about trying to force turnovers and trying to be able to get in the backfield as well, that for me is the key. Is finding ways to slow him down because he's going to be a one-man wrecking machine if he's given the time of day.
And, you might not be able to bring him down, but strip sacks, that kind of
force the ball out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another way you can force turnovers, obviously, is fumbles and strip sacks and, not just interceptions. So I think that's something that they can also try to work on. But the defense for me for ASU is the biggest I don't really know. Because it's so hard. It's easier, I feel like, to judge an offense based off of going against their own defense than it is to judge a defense going up against their own offense. Both of them are hard to tell, but that is my opinion. And
well, I mean, we saw it at practice, as you had mentioned. One side, it's Jeff Sims is running the offense and the defense looks amazing. The other side of it is Sam's running the offense and he's almost perfect from passing attack.
Exactly. So this game, for me, is just kind of gauging where this team is at, how good this team is. But it's a tough opponent. Like, Wyoming is no joke. There's not a joke on this schedule. Even though, you've got some teams that were picked lower to finish in their conference, like Mississippi State was picked second to last in the SEC. But
it's a big boy conference.
Yeah,
still.
it's a big boy conference. And I think that all of these opponents are going to be tough, and starting this weekend. There's no Southern Utah this year, even though ASU only beat them 24-21.
Yeah, and just to go back to the front seven that we were talking about before, it's going to be very key for ASU to stop the run in this game, not just Savota.
Very key, Sean Elliott. You see what I did there?
Yeah, very good.
Former leading tackler coming over to ASU.
Harrison Wiley, he's a Doak Award watch list guy. He ran for over 900 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. ASU is going to have to stop the run if they want to win this game.
Same thing that we were saying about the success for ASU's offense is the same thing about the success for ASU's defense. Do not let them establish the run, because once they do, then it opens up play action. It opens up all sorts of aspects of your offense. And running will be the key for not just the offensive side, but for the defensive side as well.
And I did want to add, before we move on, that the offensive coordinator for Wyoming is Sam Levitt's old offensive coordinator
at Michigan State.
So it would be nice if, hopefully they've picked the brain of Sam and are like, okay, what are his tendencies? What is
could work the other way too.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. But hopefully ASU can use that to an advantage, and it won't be a disadvantage to them.
First-year head coach Jay Savell, he is taking over the Wyoming Cowboys this season after Craig Bull retired. Also, Mitch, Wyatt Eckler.
Where do I know that name?
Yeah, 77 tackles last year. He's got a half-brother in the NFL, some guy named Austin Eckler.
And then
Pretty
I also
good,
see
Jesse.
a note on
It's
this.
on my team, yeah.
I see a note on this show sheet that says parentheses go Durs. Do you know what that means?
Oh, have I not revealed this on the podcast before?
I'm teasing.
So I should reveal this. So I was listening to an episode one time of Sarah Spain's old ESPN radio show, and somebody called in and said, I'm a big Durs fan. And so she made fun of that. And so I've always said the Durs because it's funny. And then I do it for other teams now and drive Mitch crazy by calling his Broncos the Coes.
It's very uncomfortable for me.
Anyway, if
personally.
ASU wants to establish the run, they got to get past Austin Eckler's brother.
Wyatt.
That is Wyatt.
The Vols. ASU Sun Devils, the Vols.
All right. Scoring predictions. Easy for me to say. We're going to go game by game. not score, just win-loss there. We're going to give a scoring position prediction for the Wyoming game.
And we will bring in
At the
Damon
end.
for this.
At the end, we will go with Wyoming.
Okay.
We're going to start with week 2.
We're going to start with week 2.
Start
All
with
right.
week 2.
No
All right.
easy task, neither.
Versus Mississippi State. That's an SEC school. ASU first time playing an SEC school in I don't know how long. When was the last time they played Texas A&M in 2015? Was that the last time?
God, that was when I was
Maybe.
in college.
Yeah.
They were.
The neutral site game against
I was
Kyle
there.
Allen.
Yeah,
right?
and in Houston, and Kyler Murray got into the game. Actually.
Yeah, former Texas A&M legend Kyler Murray. He did not
Kevin Sumlin as head
to
coach.
Texas Tech.
He hooked up with Christian Kirk in that game for a touchdown. I'm
Cool.
pretty sure.
They did that. They did that a lot in Arizona.
Anyway,
as well.
Mississippi State. Again, Jesse, you brought up the fact that their pick to finish second to last, just ahead of Vanderbilt in the SEC.
Yeah, they have a quarterback that transferred in from Baylor this year. Was okay last year. Played in 8 games.
Prediction.
My prediction is that ASU is going to win this one.
Whoa.
28-17. I think ASU is a little bit better than Mississippi State.
Interesting.
28-17.
Write it down.
I just don't want to sleep on the fact that it's an SEC school. I understand that Will Rogers left, and I know that this program is still. I mean, it's really hard to replace Mike Leach, but I just don't see it for ASU.
New head coach for the second straight year.
Maybe I'm just a little too overly skeptical about how good ASU is going to be, especially against a Mississippi State school that's had recent success, more recent than ASU. So I think I got to go with the Bulldogs on this one.
So Mitch has ASU losing, and Jeremy also has ASU losing because I think ASU is still trying to figure things out. It's going to be week 2 of a season where they have a lot of new players on this roster, and I think an SEC school is really good in the trenches, and I'm just not sure ASU can deal with an offensive line as good as what the SEC can provide. Damon, what do you got?
Not to spoil my pick for the Wyoming game
Ah!
we'll do later on, but I really think that ASU is going to be able to hit the ground running here.
Ooh.
And I'm going to pick an upset over Mississippi State for Tempe
Would it be an
Heritage
upset?
Night.
I'm
Be an upset?
Well, I mean, neither school's going to be ranked by the time this week rolls around. I think we can safely say that, right?
I think on a national scale, it'll surprise people at the very least.
It's an SEC school versus a brand new Big 12 school that was not good in its previous conference for the last couple of years. I think that's a fair thing to assume it to be an upset, if it were.
Jesse, Texas State on the road.
Texas State, very good Sun Belt team.
Aggressive on
Picked
offense.
to finish first in the division. They still do divisions in the Sun Belt. Shout out the Sun Belt for hanging on to dear life there. But yeah, it's on the road. It's going to be, in my opinion, coming off of a big win over Mississippi State. It's on a short week. This is a letdown game.
Yep.
ASU loses to Texas State on the road.
That's all of the things that Jesse just said is what my fear is too, is that this offense is going to be, it's going to be the same amount of rest. We could use the rest excuse as much as we want, but this is a neutral site game, but it's in their territory. So I lean in the favor of Texas State in this one.
I too lean in the favor of Texas State. I have been saying to a lot of people that these first 4 games are no joke.
No.
These first 4 games are tough. And I don't want to say ASU might be demoralized at this point because it's only 3 games into the season. But it might be a loss here against Texas State. I'm leaning toward Texas State. It's tough. I'm going to go with them for right now. But I might change.
now.
I might change my mind in a few weeks when we go over this again.
We always
It's hard to judge this
repick
early in the
things.
season. We've only seen so much.
Damon?
I think y'all are a bunch of negative Nancys.
Yes, that's what we're about here.
No,
Don't call me Nancy.
I actually think that ASU has a really good shot to not only hit the ground running, but keep up the energy that they've established throughout spring and fall of this is a hungry team, a team that really wants to prove people wrong about how they're being viewed. I don't think that this is going to be a letdown game for them at all.
All right, let's do rapid fire because we're running out of time here, guys. So Texas Tech, Jesse.
Texas Tech, I'm going to say that one is going to be a loss for me.
A loss. That is at Texas Tech.
Exactly.
Mitch
I will
at Texas Tech.
I will go loss as well. They've still got their air raid system all these years later after Mike Leach, Cliff Kingsbury. They're very aggressive on the offensive attack.
For a young defensive backfield, this game's going to be tough.
Yes.
I think that they're going to pull off the upset in this game and actually win. I do think ASU will be able to pull this one off on the road. It'll be a nice victory for the team. Damon.
I think it's going to be an interesting challenge to see how this defense defends Jalen Conyers.
Oh, yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I think if they can contain him and the other weapons in the passing game, I think it'll be a good chance to be an upset win. But for this case, going into the bye week, bit of a getaway game, I'm going to call it a loss.
Okay.
Bye week, Kansas.
First of two.
Bye week and then Kansas.
Kansas is a ranked team.
At the moment.
Yep. They have a very good quarterback coming back in
Jalen Daniels.
Jalen Daniels.
Good.
I think that
very good.
ASU is home in this one, and I don't think that they're going to upset Utah in the next week. Spoiler alert. So I'm going to say this is kind of that upset win that they get at home against Kansas.
I agree with the notion that there has to be at least one upset of the schedule, and I'm going to also back the rest advantage as something that ASU can use as part of its momentum going into this game against Kansas. So I will take a close ASU win over Kansas. Close.
I think ASU, coming off of what I said is going to be a win in Texas Tech, come home and get some momentum going, get a win against Kansas, and that's going to be Texas Tech, nice rest, bye week, and then another win. They get 2 weeks to prepare for Kansas. It'll be a fun day at Mountain America Stadium.
Yes.
Damon.
I'm going a loss here because I saw Kansas in their bowl game here in the Valley earlier in December.
It's
not the same team.
They just have what I was getting to is they have a great way of really bringing their contingent to the Valley. I think there's a lot of Kansas fans here, and so I'm expecting a solid amount of Kansas fans at Mountain America that day. They have a lot of talent at the skill positions. Their running back and receivers are incredible around
That's
Jalen
why they're
Daniels.
ranked.
Yeah, so I'm calling this one a loss.
Jesse, your Utah Utes.
My Utah Utes. They're not my Utah Utes.
You love Utah.
I like the way they play, and I'm going to predict this real quick, and this is one of the reasons why ASU is going to lose this game, is I think that Cam Rising will be the Heisman Trophy winner this year. That is my prediction. You've seen these older...
We haven't seen him play in 2 years.
That is true, but you've seen these older guys, like a Jaden Daniels last year. He was a fifth year. They win the Heisman Trophy. I think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, they're super well coached. This is Utah coming off of a bye week. ASU will be on a short week. This is a Friday night game. ASU is going to get absolutely smacked by Utah in this game.
I won't go that far. I'll just say they'll lose to Utah. How's that?
I will also say they're going to lose to Utah because Jesse just stole a lot of what I wanted to say.
We don't have much to say after
we don't have a lot more time. So, Damon, go ahead. Win or loss?
I think it'll be Kenny's first win against his big mentor hero that he looks up to, Kyle Whittingham.
Wow. Okay, that's not happening. But
got a bunch
Jesse,
of
you're also very high on Utah.
I'm always high on Utah.
Okay.
That's my thing. That I am in this lane.
Utah is never high. Anyway.
All right. So you know how my old saying when ASU was still in the Pac-12 was you never want to go to Oregon State. You never want to go to Corvallis.
Do you feel the same way about Ohio?
I feel the same way about Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
You never want to go to Cincinnati, Ohio, especially in October.
Yep.
Guys,
they got a groove thing too. They've been a very competitive team the last few years,
and they have a really cool old stadium. Good and solid environment for a big city team.
Yeah.
Usually, big city teams are we've seen it with ASU. Struggle with attendance, but
loss.
Yeah, it's a loss.
Yeah, we all have lost there. Damon, what do you have?
Yeah, I'll call that a loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're too high on
Probably
Cin-
so wrong.
We're,
on that,
we're,
by the
pro-
way.
we're probably so wrong on all this.
I'd
but
be happy to be proven wrong about my entire prediction slate.
Yes, exactly.
Another bye week here. It'll be good to get that bye week in after a tough loss against Cincinnati, guys.
The advantage for them
'Cause
is
then
4 games off, 4 games off, and then 5 games to close.
No, a reward for having a bye week is that you got to go face Mike Gundy.
He's a man. He's 57 now, I think.
He's been a monkey on their back the last 3 years, too. So
Yes.
2 years.
So there's some familiarity there.
But this Oklahoma State team is going to be much better than either of the previous 2 Oklahoma State teams.
Didn't his son transfer?
No, he's back, I think. Yeah.
He hit the
Transferred
portal.
and then he came back.
Alan Bowman back for the 57th year.
Alan Bowman in his 7th year. He's now wearing number 7.
But Ollie
of
Gordon
that,
is who I'm most concerned about.
Yes, Ollie Gordon, if he can, stay on the field and not get in trouble for a second time.
Same with Mike Gundy because he said he's done that 1,000 times.
Yeah, if both of them have a lot of strikes, or Gundy has a lot more strikes on him than Ollie Gordon, but Ollie Gordon has a strike against him.
Yep.
All right.
But anyway, I think that ASU goes into
No way,
Oregon
Jesse.
State and they win.
Oklahoma State.
I'm sorry, yeah, Oklahoma State. And
We
they
were
win.
talking about
OSU,
Oregon State.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's why we put
Pac-12,
OK State.
Pac-12 amnesia. But yes, I think they go in and I think they stop Ollie Gordon in this one. This is they get Gundy for the in the third try. Third time's a charm.
Mitch,
Loss.
I too have a loss.
Okay.
Damon,
Fun matchup between Cam Scatterbo and Ollie Gordon.
Not even in the
Cam
same
has his
category.
two Heisman Trophy hopefuls there.
Cam
Not
had
in the
this one
same category.
circled. I
Love
think
you,
it'll be
Cam.
fun.
Not the same category.
I'm calling it a win.
Wow.
Yeah, Damon.
Good one, Damon.
Yeah.
All right, we got 4 more of these. Let's do
All
this.
right.
Let's knock them out.
UCF, Kenny Dillingham playing against his old friend in Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn had nothing but great things to say about him at Big 12 Media Days. Again, almost said Pac-12 there. I'm going to say that all season. Jesse.
UCF kind of sucks. I'm going to take ASU.
And it's not at the bounce house.
Yeah, no.
Travel advantage, ASU. Victory, ASU.
And it could be like a 7 p.m. start local time here, which would be like
10 p.m. for Central Florida.
well,
I
actually,
feel like
by then
that'll-
it'll be 9.
I feel like
Yeah.
that'll be a day game, but we never know.
yeah, so I got win as well. We all 3 of us have a win against UCF, the national champions from 2018, 2017.
Doesn't even know his own national champion. Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Damon.
It's a surf and turf win.
Wow, big time. All right. UCF now. We got Kansas State, the other
On the
school
road
in
in
Kansas.
November.
You never want to go to Manhattan in November. You never want to go to Manhattan in
Loss.
November.
I'll just say it right now.
Yeah, it might be snowing there. ASU's not going to be able to handle that. That's a loss.
All right, so 2 losses. Damon, what do you got?
Loss.
I also have a loss. This is getting good, guys. So we're ASU towing on the line of bowl eligibility for all of us.
Towing the line.
Yeah. BYU, Jesse. This is at home against BYU.
BYU, it's going to be about a 50-50 crowd. I think that ASU still is the better team, though. So I think that ASU, this is their last win of the regular season.
I'm also going to give this one a win. These are the 2
You
teams.
don't have them winning the Territorial Cup?
I do not.
These are the 2
unfortunately.
teams that are seen towards the bottom of this conference, and I think that Arizona State will have figured out their rhythm by that point, whereas BYU, they're probably going to be going in the opposite direction.
I think ASU will probably win this game, but you have to watch out for the passing attack of BYU. They always have a good quarterback, experienced quarterback back there. I'm not sure who the quarterback will be when we get to the BYU week, but I think ASU will win this game. But it'll be close, in my opinion. Damon.
A win.
Dub. Last one.
Last but not
before
least.
we get back to Wyoming.
Last but not least.
Arizona.
Yeah, as I said, I think they're going to lose the Territorial Cup. It's on the road. Noah Fafita is excellent. McMillan, the wide receiver down there, is also excellent. I don't. It's going to, unfortunately for ASU fans, it's going to be a loss for the second straight year. But it's the good thing about this for ASU fans is that they still had that 4-game winning streak that headed into their first loss, or 4 or 5-game winning streak that headed into their first loss in this last year in a while, or 2 years ago in a while.
70-7.
Yeah, there's also that. Yep. And 41-40. Pretty big games.
Mitch.
Forks up. Just a rational confidence. staring right at the camera to say it.
Yeah, I always
That's
pick
it.
I always pick ASU to beat U of A. So
Yeah, sorry, not gonna happen.
You can be the
going to win
realist.
as well.
Yeah.
That'll land me at 7-5 on the season.
so bowl eligible.
Wow, 7?
7.
Man,
Yeah,
He's
I'm like
he's got that Utah pick.
I'm like reaching for 6, and I think I'm only at 4.
I think the team is really going to surprise people.
That's fine. I don't see it right now,
all
which
right.
is hilarious because I said they're going to beat the other school.
Wyoming.
Win.
Why?
Oming.
yes.
ASU always seems to knock it out of the park in the first game of the season, and I think that they invited Wyoming
Except for
to
last season.
No, they still won. Then they got
By 3.
They got interrupted by a monsoon, and that threw everything out of whack. But they still won, and I think they're going to win again this go around with Wyoming.
What a storm that was. Let's hope that does not happen on Saturday.
Shout out Storm Duck.
Sick reference.
I'm going to go with ASU in this one. I think it's going to be relatively close, but I think ASU pulls it out.
Yeah, I've been talked it just by going to practice a few times. I've been talked into ASU being able to win this game just because, you got all offseason to script a few plays in that first drive. I think that's going to be good for some momentum, and ASU can score some points on this Wyoming defense.
Great scripted play that they can run on this first drive is halfback draw.
Kenny
so
joked
rude.
that swinging gate would be the first play. Unless
Would
you're
not be
Wyoming
surprised.
and you're listening, in which case maybe it is.
Would not be surprised. That would not shock me. Damon, you got win?
Yeah, I got win.
All right.
Watch them trot out Cam Scattaboo for the first play at quarterback.
Under center.
And then he gets his second start. So I was looking at this before this is a little bit of a tangent, but I was looking at this, and 2 of ASU's official starting quarterbacks in the history of their program are Cam Scattaboo and Jalen Conyers.
All right. Ready? Mitch, you are the only one of us 4 that does not have ASU bowl eligible.
Interesting. How many wins did I finish with? 5?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm 6-6 for them.
You have 7.
What?
Yes.
Wow. That's surprising.
Y'all are hating me
2,
for putting 7 and
3,
you
4,
have
5.
7.
No.
It was just surprising
No,
at
Jesse,
first.
you
That
have
was
se-
all.
you have
Okay,
6.
I was
You have
like,
6.
I do not have 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Jesse, you have 6.
Journalism majors.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're the only one that does not have ASU bowl eligible this season.
I don't know. One other of those games that I call the loss is going to be flipped to a win if that's the case. But if they're going to flip any of those games at all, it would have to be one that nobody saw coming.
Anything above 4 or more wins is a successful season, in my opinion, because that is improving
Agreed.
on the last 2 years. So they probably won't end up getting to 6 wins. Like I said, they will. But I think that anything above 3 is a successful season for them.
Mitch, I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, hold on.
Before we
There's
get to-
one more thing we have to
before we
mention
get to
about Wyoming
Coa-Pete.
this weekend. No. I want to get to Coa-Pete first.
Okay.
Because this is huge. ASU basketball they're killing it in the recruiting game, right?
Yes.
They've landed Jaden Quinance for this year. They flipped Joson Sanon from Arizona to Arizona State.
Who looks like a stud, by the way.
Massive. They were able to keep Adam Miller another season after his whole trials and tribulations with eligibility.
Yep.
They're set up to be really good, or on paper, really good this upcoming year. And now they have a chance to be even better for next year. Coa-Pete, who is a 5-star local product here in Arizona, is officially visiting Arizona State this weekend.
Yeah.
For the Wyoming game.
He will be at the Wyoming game, Damon, correct?
Yeah.
So are they swaying, texting friends and family? Sorry.
Yeah. Has there been, because this is legal now,
Well,
has there been
Jesse
a
didn't get my
board-
reference. Sorry.
Funny enough, the texting friends and family, ASU coaches his family because Koa's older brother is a walk-on offensive lineman,
you
Keona
go.
Pete.
He's probably been to a lot of ASU
Yeah, he has been
football
to
games
plenty
and-
of games
yeah.
already. He's been seen on the sideline plenty. ASU's really trying to get him.
Yeah, and they can
They gotta
give him
send
a
the house.
Ford, right? They can give him a Santan Ford, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they can send the house.
Why are we the ones saying the sponsor names? That's not our thing.
I'm just that's who gave them the cars. I'm
I know.
reporting the facts here.
I know they've been great partners with Arizona State.
Santan Ford. Oh wait, Wolf, I was not supposed to do that.
Hey, don't get us copyright infringed, please.
All right, Mitch. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm looking directly into the camera right now.
Look into it.
I'm looking. This is my last State of the Sun Devils podcast. I'm going to only say as much as I can, which is to say, no, I did not get fired. No, I'm not leaving Arizona sports. That's not happening either.
I told him we had to go.
But this will be my last State of the Sun Devils podcast. So I'm turning it over to, well, I'm not turning it over, but Jeremy, Jesse, and then Damon is now going to be a full-time part.
Wait, did you just make that decision for us?
Can I?
I
haven't even talked to him about it.
I already made the decision, Jeremy. It's fine.
Do you want to ask Damon if he accepts my spot?
Well, I guess. Damon, I guess we have to give it to. Do you want to be on the State of the Sun Devils podcast?
Sure.
Okay.
But yeah, big news is coming, and I can't tell you what it is now, but it'll become official soon, like relatively soon. So be on the lookout.
We have been so lucky to have you on this podcast, Mitch. You're very passionate about Arizona State athletics.
As you can tell.
Yes. I don't know if people can tell what shirt that is, but yes.
I've got Sparky on the
Why is there a ref
lapel.
on it?
I don't know.
Ref ball.
I just liked this shirt.
Thank goodness we left those refs behind.
Yeah, the Big 12 refs are also apparently bad.
Can't wait.
Refereeing is hard. I give them the benefit of the doubt. It's a
Anyway,
hard
Jesse,
profession.
say something nice about Mitch before we get out of
he
here.
doesn't have
Mitch,
to.
thank you for doing the podcast with us for the last year-ish, a little over a year. We needed your help at the time, and it was a fun year, and we did a lot of fun things. So I appreciate that, and you're welcome to fill in whenever Damon is not available.
And I'll tell you what, this podcast is only going to get better because, look, I think I speak for the three of us that Damon's knowledge when it comes to college athletes and high school athletes and recruiting and everything in the nitty-gritty of that field, I don't know anybody that's worked harder in that area, and y'all are going to be blessed to have him working with this crew.
Peeling back the curtains a little bit, Damon is my roommate, and I will walk in often to
Pause.
the house.
Jeez.
And
Long pause there.
Careful.
And he will say, "I'm really excited about this player," and I'm like, "Who is that, Damon?" And he explains it to me.
He's a 15-year-old prospect that ASU might be picking up.
Exactly. So Damon knows he's going to bring some great recruiting that we haven't had before on this show, because that has not ever been anyone's expertise on this show until now.
Certainly
with
not
Damon.
mine.
So we're excited to have him joining us full time. And then Mitch, you'll be welcome anytime you want to fill in.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
Obviously, to piggyback off of what you said, Mitch, about the podcast just getting better, it's because ASU athletics is also seemingly going in an upward trajectory, and that starts with Graham Rossini and the athletic department seemingly starting to listen to fans.
Vibes are good.
We've seen that on.
But we
on
didn't
social
even
media
mention
and
they're cutting the ticket prices to park in the structure on game day in half.
Yep.
And
That's
then
awesome.
they have
free waters.
They have value items now at concessions, and they're doing a new weekly item exclusive to each opponent. And the first one up is elk bratwurst. And you bet I'm going to be trying it.
I will also be trying it, honestly. Even though I have to spend money on it, I'm going to go
totally
and
worth
try
it. It'll totally be worth it.
Jeremy will not be eating elk.
I'll try it for you guys. Yeah.
Just try a bite of Jesse's to save yourself
We need
money.
to do some, we need to do content with this. But okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Lots of great things ahead. Looking forward to the new adventure for State of the Sun Devils podcast and Mitch's possible new adventure coming soon.
What could it be?
Definite new adventure. Can't announce it yet.
Cannot say anything about it.
There you go.
But don't worry, I'm still at Arizona Sports.
Yes.
That's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You can find us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils, including Threads.
I posted something on there.
We threaded.
We have a recent post.
Yes, you can go check us out there. YouTube, you can find us there on almost every single episode, including our post-game podcast that we're going to do after the Wyoming game on Saturday evening into
Damon's
the wee
gonna
hours.
join us on that, right, Jeremy?
Into the wee hours of the morning. Anyway, Mitch, thanks again for all your hard work on this podcast.
Thank
for
you.
him, Jesse Morrison, and Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We will see you on Saturday.